Welcome, everyone. Today is day 3 of week 18 of India Evening and Weekend Platoon. Today, we are going to cover third-party libraries, which is actually a really, really short lesson. So yay for that. I know you've had your faces kicked in with everything we've been covering. And no worries if React doesn't conceptually make a lot of sense to you. It very rarely does the first or second time. Does everyone understand that? I don't know if I've ever told this story to you guys, but if I have, forgive me, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again. Uh, I personally didn't find programming. I didn't go straight to programming for being a history teacher. I actually went to go be a computer engineer first. And on one of my computer engineering class, it was a math class. I went to class and I understood maybe 10% of what I was taught. And it was during the COVID days, right? At that point, I slammed my laptop and my girlfriend could tell I was very frustrated. And I just kind of ranted that, hey, man, I just sat through this like 2 hour class, man. I got maybe 10% of it. And she looked at me and she said, that's actually normal, right? Like you're learning. So they don't expect you to know everything, right? It'd be weird if you understood 100% of it. That means you didn't learn anything. And when she said that, that completely changed my perspective on how I take classes. She was absolutely right. Right? You're learning, so yeah, you're not going to get all of it, right? If you knew 100% of it, you wouldn't be here. Make sense? So give yourself a little bit of grace, but also push yourself to learn as quickly as possible. Because that's really, really important. Alrighty. Ranted about my little story. Let's talk third-party libraries. Does everyone see the third-party library GitHub repo? I'm going to take that as a yes. All right, perfect. Awesome. Third-party libraries. Um, can someone tell me what React is? Let's start there. What is React?
It's a library.
Yes, it is. It is a third-party library. So what do you think today's lesson is going to be about?
Using
Libraries create libraries for libraries.
Wait, I'm going to import a third-party library into my third-party library? Yes, that's exactly what it is. And if you understood exactly what I just said, you're in great shape because conceptually, you're going to understand what we're about to cover. Make sense? I'm going to assume that it does. I think we're covering, is it material UI today? Yep. Let's go to the README file real quick. Boom. And getting started. Components. Let's look at button components. All right, cool. We're going to touch on this in just 1 second. All right, third-party libraries. Over the next few days, we're going to be building out a React application, which you already have, with many interactive elements over multiple pages of content. We'll be able to do this quickly using third-party libraries such as Material UI and React Router. When people say we'll be able to do this quickly using third-party libraries, typically a phrase that you hear a lot in tech is leveraging. We're going to leverage these third-party libraries in our own application to make building faster and to make our application a lot more maintainable. If we use a bunch of third-party libraries in our code, what don't we have to do as much?
make it up ourselves.
Yeah, and also a really important thing here no one ever talks about, not only creating it, but also what's after creating. You have to do what to a code base?
Organize it.
You'll really maintain it. That's what I was looking for. Yes, organizing, and that's kind of part of maintaining, especially when you start adding more functionality, but maintaining is the big thing. And I know I've mentioned it in this class, so I'll go ahead and mention it again. When you get to a company, depending on, actually, this happens at all companies. It might happen to some, I know some of you guys are in tech roles already or tech adjacent roles. This happens already in pretty much every company I've ever been at. People will fight over who's responsible over what tools. And why do they fight? Because they don't want to be responsible for anything. Why is that? Because it's a lot of work. How many teams in a company you think want to be the maintainers of a shitty application? How many teams do you think are fighting to get that job? The answer is
Well,
nobody.
zero,
Yeah.
but only one really. I mean, like
No,
I'll be
no. The answer is zero. Nobody wants to maintain a shitty application. Why? Because it breaks all the damn time. And what do you have to constantly deal with? Your peers saying, hey, why is your shit messed up? Please fix it. My other stuff depends on it. We pushed the fraud on Thursday. It's Tuesday. Can we get this fixed today? It's 5 o'clock. That's what happens. Okay. Super, super important. Not only creating it, but maintaining it. So back to third-party libraries. If you can leverage as many third-party libraries as possible, the better. Your code base will be smaller, and you will have to maintain far less code. Makes your job a lot easier. There's less components that break. And if components break, it's typically the maintainer of that library that is responsible. Does everyone understand that? That right there is a really important software engineering concept that you must understand. Super, super important. And typically when you import all of these third-party libraries into your application, right? And there's a vulnerability found in the library, whoever maintains it will update it. And the only thing you have to do is update your dependencies and make sure that they play nice with each other. That's it. You don't have to rewrite any code or anything. Sometimes you have to change some syntax or something. If the library updated in a certain way, they changed it. But outside of that, it's pretty minimal. That's kind of what we want, right? And I think I've mentioned this in this class before, but I'll mention it again just to kind of reinforce the point. The goal in software engineering is really just to do a bunch of third-party integrations. You want to write as little code as possible because the minute that you start writing code, you start doing two things. You start one, introducing bugs, and two, now you become responsible for maintaining it. And if you maintain that application, inevitably people will ask more of it, which means that's more code you have to write and more code you have to maintain, right? So a small team that maintains 2 or 3 applications, if any of those applications grow significantly in size, their workload also grows. And guess what? Sometimes they don't approve headcount. So that just increased the workload for everybody. Make sense? Cool, 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 cool. If you don't understand a lot of what I just said, you will in time. But what I said, think about it at least a little bit. It makes a whole lot of sense and you'll definitely 100% run into it if you haven't already. Alrighty, so today we're going to talk about 2 third-party libraries that we are going to leverage or use in our React applications. They are Material UI and React Router. And they both have documentation that you can access on the internet. So here are our objectives. Understand the importance of third-party libraries in React development, learn how to research and choose reliable libraries, right? You don't want to choose some kind of library that, maybe you got off of GitHub or GitLab that no one ever maintains, that the last push was 5 years ago. You probably don't want to use that library, right? But you probably do want to use libraries that are maintained, right, by big companies. Why is that? They typically have more resources. More resources to maintain the library and make sure it works. So that's why. Also, if there are bugs, they're a lot faster to fix it. Why? They just have more people on it. That's all. Okay. Then we're going to discover methods for importing and using third-party libraries. So that's really the main objectives for today. Hey, understand the importance of third-party libraries. I kind of already covered it. Hopefully that made sense. Right? Choose reliable libraries. Obviously, choose libraries that are they're backed or maintained by really big companies. React, who created React?
Facebook.
Facebook, pretty big company, pretty valuable company, got a lot of resources. React is awesome for that reason. And discover new methods for importing. All libraries import more or less the same way, but there are some nuances depending on the library. Okay, we go into why use third-party libraries in React. It's pretty much right here, right? Third-party libraries provide pre-built solutions for common problems, saving you development time and effort. They can include UI components, state management tools, data fetching utilities, and more. They can really include almost anything, right? It's a library that someone built. What can you build into a library? Anyone tell me? What kind of code can you put in a library?
Any code?
Reusable
Yeah.
code.
No, it doesn't even have to be reusable. Hey, Scott got it right. Anything. You can put dog shit code in there too if you want. No one ever does it, right? If you have a legitimate product, but nothing stops you, right? Could you create your own library, push it up to GitHub, and start blasting people the links to use it? Nothing stops you. I can create a Guillermo UI library tomorrow, push it to GitHub, and start spamming people with my link, and they can import it and they can use it. Doesn't mean it's going to be any good, but I can do it. Make sense? Cool, 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 cool. Alrighty, so today's lesson will cover initial setup for React application using two third-party libraries, Material UI and React Router. The first challenge will expand on the initial setup, guiding you through the creation of additional components functionality using Material UI. This kind of line kind of tells you that Material UI is going to help with what aspect of a React project. I'll ask that question again. Based on just this line, what aspect of a React project do you think Material UI is going to help with?
The UI.
Specifically, yeah, UI.
Yeah, UI, creating components for the UI. And actually, if you look to the read, I'm going to jump to the little README. Here you go. This is a really simple example, and honestly, my favorite example, right? You're going to import the library at the top of your file, right? And in here, once you import that specific third-party library, a normal button, right, doesn't look like this when you just use HTML. But once you import Material UI, you can start leveraging that library and creating this right here. And instead of a normal unstyled button, right? And we can do this. I'm literally just going to do this on the fly here. Because I wasn't planning on it, but we're going to do it anyway. I'm going to call this bad boy app. And I'm going to do it in real time here. Why not? Nothing else to do. Today's lesson's super short. Why not? Let's do it. Index.html. Sweet. Pound tab. And I have a button component. Why not? Press me. Sweet. And I can go open with live server. Make this jumbo size. What do you notice of the difference about the Material UI button and the button that I just created? What's the difference?
The pre-made CSS, like it's already styled.
Yeah, it's styled, and you don't have to write any extra code, and you don't have to write any extra CSS, right? It comes as a component out of the box with full functionality and some pretty sweet styling, right? And it's really simple. You can choose just text like this one. You can choose contain with that blue background. Nice, right? Or just the outline, right? Look at this UI components. Way nicer than this junk, right? And this is self-contained, baby. I didn't have to write any CSS to make that button blue. I didn't have to write some CSS to have it just outlined. I didn't have to write some CSS as, hey, make that text in that button blue like it is here, right? And this is right here. Pay very close attention to text here. Ready? It's gonna happen. It's gonna come at you fast. When I hover over text, what happens?
Contrast changes.
Yeah. And that's built into what library? It's not a trick question. We're on the web page. Material UI, right? Yeah. Cool. That functionality is all in there. So when you download actually Material UI, and you don't have to do this, but you can go in there and look at the code, and you can actually find the code where this is, right? This effect, anybody know what it's called? This is on a what? I don't expect you to know this, but it's on hover, right? So this button has an on hover color change, background color change. That's what's happening. But all of that code is boxed neatly in their library. You import it at the top of your file and boom, you can leverage it. Yes? Too easy. Too easy. That's what's happening. Cool. Alrighty. The second challenge is available if you're able to complete the first one before the end of class. In this challenge, you'll get to choose, super important word, a list of third-party libraries to play around with. Okay? So we'll mess with Material UI because a lot of people end up using either Bootstrap or Material UI and React for their front end and for their personal projects and their group projects. So everyone's going to mess around with that. And then the second challenge, you're going to be able to pick. I'll step through them here in a second, and I'll kind of give you what I would choose. All right, so Material UI installation. Let's use Material UI quickly to set up an interactive dashboard. Start by navigating the UI website to find and read about installing Material UI and its dependencies. So we're going to walk through this together. Sound good? So feel free to follow along. Sound good? So this, I suppose, is not hurting anything. We can leave it there. Boom, boom, boom. Don't need this. All right, cool. Let's walk through these steps here. Material UI installation. Can I make this? Can I get rid of this? No, whatever. That's good enough. All righty.
Click
So
the files thing up top.
there you go. Hero. Nice job. All right. So here we go. We are here. How do I start a React project? What do I want to do first? I'm going to delete this so it doesn't confuse anyone. I am in an empty folder. Now what? Walk me through this. I want to start a React project with JavaScript and then import Material UI. The commands are right there on the screen. I'm not trying to trick you or anything.
The npm create divided
Use the invite. Ooh, let's do it. Let's do it. Do it. Project name. Let's call it React with Material UI. Cool. We're going to select a framework. We're going to use React. And we're going to use JavaScript. Cool. No for beta. Install with npm and start now. Yes. Cool. So my project is called React with Material UI. Sweet. We're going to let it bootstrap real quick. All right. So now I can actually go look. Does this work? Is it loading? Sweet. It works. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And because I know, or because you were in class the other day, we know that if we go into source, really the only thing we need to be worried about is what's in here, right? What is being rendered in your app? That's really where our attention should be. We know it's rendering all this stuff that we really don't care that much about, right? Make sure, that's a paragraph there at the end. Don't really need any of this. Make sure that we got it. Ooh, there's a fragment at the end. I'm going to actually leave the last div. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to leave the last div. I'm going to delete all this. And here I'm just going to put, oh, let's go with a P tag. Let's go hero. Sweet, hero. Actually, let's go with an H1 so it's enormous and I know what I'm doing. Hero, there you go. Cool. I've effectively started my reactant. Everyone has gotten us to that point. Sweet. Next step is this. What is this? What does this command do?
That's installing Material UI to your.
Yes. Am I in the right directory here?
Nope.
Why not?
Because you need to enter the React root folder
Yeah,
that you
that's
just
my
created.
project, right? Because I want to install it in there. All right, so this install here should work then. Let's go. Oh, this is actually a pretty important point here. Notice that you're doing the npm install. You can string together a bunch of things. You know how you string together like method calls in like Python or JavaScript? You can do the same thing here. Okay. Cool. Where can I look for what libraries are installed? Look at my file tree right here. Where can I go look for these libraries that I just installed?
Node modules.
Let's look. What libraries did we install here? We installed MUI, material icons, or icons material, emotion react, emotion styled. What is this? Font source, Roboto. Okay, cool. Oh, this is a big one. Material UI. Cool. Let's go look. Check if we got it. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Anyone see it? Found it? Yeah. There you go. All right. So when you go in here, you can tell it's in there. Check your node modules. Is it in there? Of course. Could you have run a CLI command to check, hey, is this dependency stored in here? Of course you could have. Right. But this is an easy way. This is kind of like a sanity check here, right? You can go in here and you can check, hey, all this code. So everything Material UI can do, you know, the hover that I showed you, the nice coloring of the button component, and that was just one little button, right? All that code is in here. You've effectively downloaded it. Make sense? So you can go in there and check. Sweet. Now we have access to it. Awesome, 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 awesome. All right, so we've downloaded all of these dependencies. We started the project, right? These are some troubleshooting issues. If you run into issues running npm run dev, be aware that there's a Babel dependency. I shouldn't npm run. Oh, I didn't run into that, did I? No, I didn't. All right, but if you run into that, just read that section of the README, I guess. Yeah, no, we're good. Boom. This talks about there's a Babel dependency, right? This is just another library, right? And if you go in there, you can find it. So if you run into this issue, just try to figure out. If you don't, just ping me. I'll help you. I didn't run into it, so I don't forecast that you will either. Okay, Material UI project setup. Let's clear out the app.jsx file by doing the following. He deletes a bunch of stuff. I didn't do that. I just deleted the app. We're going to leave it like that for right now. It doesn't really matter. Delete the count state. I've already done all this, right? I just cleared out. Like mine says, what, hero? Yep. Oh, it's not running. No worries. Let's start it back up. We refresh it. We deleted all those components. We just got a little hero. Perfect. Perfect. All right. We want to keep things as clean as possible when we start to minimize the time we spend later on being stuck debugging. We'll be importing a lot of example code and built-in components from Material UI because that's what it's there for, to provide us with a boilerplate, saving us time we'd otherwise spend writing out functionality ourselves. But we still have to be careful not to move too fast or we're losing ourselves in unfamiliar code. What this little snippet is just saying is, hey, a lot of the code you're going to write today, you're not actually going to write. You're just going to import a bunch of stuff and then leverage it, i.e. use it. Okay, let's start by creating a new component called something like demo, because we're ultimately not going to be using this component beyond trying out components as we go. You can also call it whatever you want, right? First thing we'll handle is to add a button. Can we add a button here? Press me. Will this work? Yes or no? 13. That's good code, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Doesn't do anything, but it looks cool. Look at that. Sweet. All righty. I just added it because we're going to eventually compare it. All right. So here it shows you, if I look at the documentation, which I'm not going to, it just says, hey, you can import it doing this. Okay, let's try it. We can delete this. We're not even using it. Actually, it doesn't seem like we're using that either, but I'm going to ignore it for now. So here, what's happening on line 5 here? What's happening on line 5 right here in my code? Right here.
You already have that MUI material library, but now you're specifically importing button from the button module of it.
Yep, that's all that's happening. I am importing the button functionality from my material UI library. So if I save it and I add it here, I'm now gonna have 2 buttons, right? Which button is cooler? All of these are buttons, right? So I could easily do this. Tab, 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 tab. There's no better way to do that, probably. Cool. What did I mess up here? Whatever. We're gonna roll. What did I just do right there?
Take time.
Yeah, I saved a bunch of time and I imported all 3 buttons. Do I need 3 buttons? No, but I just wanted to show you. You can pick whatever you want. Right? Do I want them all horizontal like that? No, that's cool. That's a problem for later. My button showed up. That's a first battle I have to win, right? All works. Super easy, right? What did I do? I downloaded Material UI inside of my React project. I hit the import, I leveraged it. I read the documentation and I imported it. Yeah. Easy. Now if I want the buttons to do anything, I just have to wire them up, right? Too easy. All righty. So that's a button. So now you're going to keep following the documentation with anything. Let's pick something that's not even in here. Let's just step through the documentation, right? I don't even know if this is going to work, but we're going to wing it. Let's do what's something that looks ridiculous here. Let's do a slider. I don't even know what this is. Okay, a slider, sure. Okay, cool, 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 cool. How do we make a slider? What's the code? Oh, you can press expand or collapse, right? I want a slider. How do I do it?
The import slider, and then you
Yeah, here we go. Let's start real
take it.
slow. We're gonna grab the slider only. I know you can grab a bunch of components. We're gonna do it real slow. We're gonna import slider. Right, we're gonna delete just these two buttons. Why not? Got a lot of buttons going on. Cool, 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 cool. I imported slider already, so this should work. If I import just this little slider, granted, it's gonna look like crap, but let's see if I can at least get this right. Cool, got it. Got the slider. Let's see our React. Sweet boy. Got a little slider right there. What's wrong with it? Doesn't seem like I can what?
Slide.
Yeah, it's missing the functionality that would make it an actual slider. Right now, it's nothing. It's a line with a gray dot on it. Okay, cool. We know that we can just import this stuff right here, right? Because that gives it full slider capability, right? Cool. And I can snag me this box. Cool, 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 cool. And I'll drop it in here maybe. Well, spacing's all messed up, but it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Save it. I'm gonna reload this bad boy. I'm gonna refresh. Broke something. Didn't work. All right, let's start this again. I'm gonna refresh this, make sure it broke. Yep, broke. Let's run this again. All righty, refresh. All right, what's happening here? I copied pasted a bunch of stuff and then what happened? My app what?
crashed.
Yeah, my app crashed. All right, so let's copied and paste too fast. That's kind of what the lesson was talking about. Let's take a step back. The import's not going to break anything. So if I just comment out box, right? Comment that out for now, save. I'm back, right? I'm back to a working app, sweet, back. So there's something in here that's not playing nice, right? What would be your approach here?
Console.
Huh?
Check the console, see what's wrong with it, or I'm just
Yeah,
guessing.
yeah, you could. You could, but you can do it that way, or you just look at the code, right? When I look here, all these imports look right? Look, check your imports. I grabbed all the imports. What did I forget to get when I copied it over? I'm missing a couple components. What am I missing here? I copied over the imports. I copied over the box, but what did I forget to copy over? That's why
You
it's
don't have the
breaking.
variables.
Yeah, I don't have these variables right here. These right here, I just ignored them. These are crucial to the functionality of my slider, right? What do you notice about line 15? It's
Under the
complaining
tab.
about what? It's complaining because
Tab.
I didn't import everything, right? That star from React, I forgot to import it, right? I only grabbed this. So if I do this, right, this should grab all of it, right? But notice that event and number are still breaking. Is it because this has to be first? Is that what it is? Let's check. Let's look at it here. So I thought I grabbed everything and it's looking like, let's check our return statement. This is colon. This looks right. Handle change. I see what it is. It's not being imported anywhere. Does this fix it? Sorry. Was it Control C? There we go. Let's try it. All right, let's see if we have any more warnings here. Boom. All right, so we go in here. We're still getting this event. What's going on? It says type annotation can only be used in TypeScript files. What's the issue?
We're in a JavaScript file.
That is the issue. That is the issue. Right? So this, is there an option? What did you notice about the thing? I didn't mean to do this. I just screwed up. Notice here, when I expand it, it's set on TypeScript. I had to go to JavaScript. And I go to JavaScript, and it gives me simpler code here. I replace these two values. Check if that helps. Okay, cool. npm run. Go back. What did I figure out? Yeah, look at that. That worked. You see that? Woo-hoo-hoo. And then you would have to just wire up the functionality, right? So I made a mistake here. I didn't check here. Remember I told you that you won't write any JavaScript code in real jobs? That's why I defaulted to TypeScript, because you would have written in TypeScript. But for us, we're just learning JavaScript right now, so just make sure to toggle JavaScript and use this syntax. And notice, I literally just copied pasted, leverage the library Material UI. So this is how you do it. You pretty much just read through, ask what you need, right? Figure out how to import it, right? Figure out what pieces you need, and just build it. That's it. There's really not much more to that. This right here is a slider disabled. We don't need that. There you go. So now I have my main page with hero on it. I have the two buttons for no reason, and I'm a little slider, Material UI slider. There you go. Easy, right? You're literally just importing components. So you don't have to build them, right? You don't have to build all these components. You have them at your fingertips. Just read the documentation, which is what this is. Too easy. Alrighty, so that's button. I showed you a slider right there because it's not in here, but it doesn't really matter, right? Whatever component you can think of or whatever component is inside the documentation, you can use. Just look at the code, how they implemented it. That's how you implement it. Super easy. Alrighty, so keep following the documentation to see how to customize aspects of the button and its color. Showed you all three buttons. Typically, it's just a keyword. Wrappers. Many built-in components in Material UI can quickly be wrapped in groups. So here they give an example of a button that has buttons in it, right? So we saw this in here, right? The little volume thing is wrapped in a what?
Box.
In a box that wraps a stack, that wraps the slider. Makes sense?
Is it in the documentation for like what the convention is for each one of those, like what goes inside of what?
Yes, sir. It's in there, and if you can modify the images, it'll be in there too, right? Like if this image could be a little horse, then this image can be a much larger horse, and that's how you want to signal to the user, hey, do you want it small? Do you want it big? That would be in there. That's a ludicrous example. They wouldn't have that in Material UI, but that's just an example. Make sense? Yes?
Yes.
All righty. Cool, cool, cool. All right. This is just telling you, hey, just mess with it. Ask for the examples. Wrappers and groupings are instrumental in keeping your code clean and readable. This is super, super important. The main thing that I want you to keep in mind about wrappers, ladies and gentlemen, is that they're super important for building actually a good UI. Let me give you an example of the slider. Yes? Let's look at the slider. The slider, without the volume, doesn't tell you anything. Is that right? Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. So these
Excuse-
images,
Can you
go ahead.
repeat that one more time,
All right.
please?
So this slider, remember how I initially had the slider? I didn't have it inside the box or without the volume icons. You can do that, right? But remember that a lot of these things are going to be, they need to be grouped. They need to come in a package, because if it's not in a package with all its corresponding components, it's not going to make sense. Like this slider without the volume icons, you don't know what it is. Yeah, you know it's a slider, but what does it do?
So
Is
it's
it?
offering a full package.
Yeah, so groupings are important for that reason. Remove the volume icons from this slider, right? And then that sliding thing can mean anything. It can mean contrast on a TV, right? It can mean brightness. Yes, it can mean volume. Yes, it can mean, I don't know if you guys have these in the house. I have them in mine. They're little sliders for your kitchen. You can have a little bit of light or a lot of
Dimmers.
light. Yeah, dimmers. Yeah, absolutely. Cool, 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 cool. All right, so grouping components are really important. When you think about a website, you always should think, let's go to Reddit. Hopefully nothing too controversial on the front page here that we're recording. Okay. All these components make sense in the context of the group that they're in. Does everyone understand that? Yes? So look at this main thing right here. I told you when they built this component, Reddit is actually built on React, so this is a good example. So look at this main page. The entire component comes together. It comes with the up and down arrows. It comes with the messages. It comes with whatever this is, and the share button, right? And then props that are passed into it are, the images, the title, time, and whatever the handle of whoever posted it, right? All this makes sense in the sense of all this is grouped together. Yes, these are small individual components for sure, but the big component, right, is grouped together to make the classic Reddit post. Yes? So this makes sense in a group. Look at over here. This also makes sense in the group. This is the navigation menu on the left-hand side of the Reddit page, right? And all of these are going to act the same, but all of these always fit within the context of this navigation menu. Yes? One thing that you guys are going to realize, and you're going to run into this problem a lot when you start messing with Material UI and you start building real front ends, you have weird stuff that happens. Like, for example, you'll press the home button. Oh, here we go. This is a really famous one. I dealt with this earlier today, actually. You'll click the search bar, and then the search bar will expand bigger than its container, and it'll block part of your nav bar. Is it supposed to do that? Is that good user experience? No, it's terrible. When I click on it, it should stay put. Right, but you're going to run into this, right? When I see that on a web page, right? When I see that on the web page, I know that they didn't group their elements together when they should have. Why is that? Because had they grouped the elements together like they should have, when I click on that search bar, it shouldn't grow bigger than its container, right? It shouldn't block other parts of the UI. And periodically, you'll see that on web pages. Right? That's kind of a big sign that they have a shitty UI person, a shitty front end dev too. Make sense? Yes? Cool. Alrighty. We talked about that. Here's an example. To give you an idea of how many components we'll be working with, here's the import statement you can expect to have by the end of the first challenge, and they give it to you, just this entire import statement. I'll go ahead and copy it here, and I'll drop it in here just so we can look at it. I'm going to actually just delete all that, and I'm just going to drop this one. So for the first challenge, you're going to import every single one of these things. Every single one of these things is a Material UI component that you are going to use to complete the first challenge. So you can check that. You can check that to see, hey, have you grabbed all of them, right? And just step through it, right? These are all everyday components that you would use building a web page. Box, yes. Button group, yes. Thinking exercise. What do you think would be inside of a button group?
Buttons.
Not just buttons. Think about it. What would be inside a button group? A button, but what else you think?
Maybe a
Like-
P tag.
A what? Speak up.
You
a
go ahead,
button
Scott.
label.
Label, but what else? Typically, a button submits, right? So what else probably inside the button group?
A form.
Yeah, user input, right? That's ubiquitous in all of web dev, right? Forms, we're constantly filling out forms and hitting submit, yeah? And then constantly filling out credit card information when the stupid web page doesn't read my Apple Pay on my phone. You guys ever do that? Did that last night. Missed a speeding ticket in my new car. Doesn't have my little toe tag on it. They sent me a bill. I went to go pay it. Wouldn't read my Apple Pay. Had to punch in my credit card information on my phone like a Neanderthal. That's bad UI, right? But guess what? The Harris Toll Authority in Texas doesn't care what I think, right? They don't want to make it easy for me to pay the bill, the toll that I missed.
Hey, buddy. What I mean today? Oh, shit, you gotta get finished. Salma.
Hot mic, boy. All right. Does everyone understand that? Yes? Hey, that Harris Toll Tech example is fire. I don't know if you appreciate my examples, but that's great. I'm there. And who remembers their credit card? It's 16 digits, nobody. So I'm like pulling it out of my wallet, pressing it, it's done. You shouldn't do that. They need to up their dev game and implement Apple Pay, right? That'd be dope. Anyway, that's my spiel there. All right. Don't worry if it seems like a lot. Many of these operate in intuitive ways. That's the thing about a really great built third-party library. It's really intuitive. And as easy as I showed you how to import stuff and use it, that's literally as easy as it is. It starts getting complicated when you have a lot of components, though, because you kind of start losing track of the data flow. So that's really the hardest part. But that right there is an inherent problem in all of software development. As applications grow in size, they typically, inevitably, grow in complexity, right? And that's just something you're just going to have to manage. Cool. That's pretty much it. Your two challenges are material router 1 and then third-party sandbox. Material, let me look. Material router 1 is pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go over that, but tackle that first. And then let's look at third-party sandbox, which is challenge numero dos. Let's look at it. I'm going to kind of give you a down and dirty of which ones you should mess with. Next.js is a really good one. Redux is a really good one. And React Bootstrap, these two. So if I was me, I would play around with React Strap, React Bootstrap, Redux, and Next.js. Now, if you want to go off the beaten path and try a couple of the other ones, feel free. But as far as when I look at this list and what makes the most sense for a new dev and in terms of what's in demand, I would mess with Next.js, Redux easy, and then React Bootstrap and React Strap. Yes? I tackle one of those for us. That's what I would do. All right. Done yapping. Questions about third-party libraries on a macro scale or micro scale?
I had a comment real quick. I was trying to
Go ahead.
follow along and I couldn't get mine to work for like probably over 10 minutes. And I realized that I needed enclosing tags because I had more than one component. So just to save you guys some time, remember
that's
your
what-
enclosing tags.
Just that's just a noob. You're a noob, and that's
Yeah.
okay. That's
Well, the
okay.
error said, do you want a fragment? And I was like, yeah, that'd probably help.
Yes. Remember, VS Code is trying to help you. It's not trying to screw you over or anything. VS Code is trying to help you. Always remember that. Sometimes we forget. Any questions? All right, I'm going to leave you. We're going to take a break after this, so chill. We're going to take a good break after this, and we're going to come back and then work individually. And then, as always, we're going to work in groups towards the end. But before I cut you loose, let me walk you through a problem that I dealt with today that's really annoying. So anytime you make these silly little mistakes in programming, just know that it's super normal. Even experienced people make them. So this is a problem. I was actually really stuck earlier on a prod deployment earlier today. And we ran into a bunch of issues, but one of the issues that I want to highlight is this, how stupid this is. We're doing an AI application and we were syncing a knowledge base. Just think about it for now as a big database, right? And we realized that all our data from the database was coming out pretty good, except it was missing some files. And we're dealing with a mountain of data, a lot of data. So like 95% of our data was great, but we noticed that some of it was not showing up. Strange, we should be able to pull 100% of our data. We are only able to pull 95% of our data. Why is that? We went looking, we couldn't figure it out. Some of these links were broken. Turns out when the data was ingested, right? When the data was ingested, the files in question had a space on them. The space broke the URIs that were being uploaded to the database. Guess how we fixed it?
A validator.
Replace space with %sign 20 on all instances. Fix the other 5% of the data. All the data that was ingested wasn't streamlined. There was a small percentage of it that had spaces in the names of the PDFs or the docx files that were being imported. No one ever bothered to check that, but it was breaking our application. Probably from start to finish, that took us 2 hours to figure out and fix. And the fix was literally not even a whole line, like 30 characters. Make sense? That's a stupid thing to be. There's 3 people stuck on that. Calculate the hourly rate on that, right? Anyway, silly mistakes happens to everybody. Just be really, really careful as you step through it. Yes? All righty. Yapped for a long time. It's 6:24 p.m. I'm going to pause the recording here. Welcome back. We're just going to do a quick assessment, actually in a second, of how assignment 1 went. Nicholas, I saw your message. Are you still having the same issue? Awesome. You mind sharing with us and we can kind of walk through it? All right, guys, it's going to be up to you to help Nicholas here, okay? I haven't seen this problem. I didn't like jump into his breakout room or anything. This is brand new for everybody here. Sound good? Hey, be a hero, Logan. I don't want to hear excuses. Oh, you're going to hear my excuses, friend, here in a second. Anyway, all right, Nicholas, take it away, buddy. Make sure you're not muted before you start talking. I can't hear anything. Is that just me?
No, I
Can
can
you
hear
hear me
you.
now?
Okay, I think we can hear you. All right, hit it, Nicholas. Explain what you're doing.
Well, so you can see it's rendering just the H1 that I have in there. And then all I try to do is add in this button from the lecture, which is just this one right here. And then as soon as I save it, it just goes blank. Even the H1 stops rendering.
Sweet. Everyone, what would be your first course of action here?
Either
I
check the
installed
console
Mini.
or
All right, check the console. F12, hotkey, or right click check. All right, what do we got here? You could clear out you see the little circle with a line through it? Clear out your console and then you can refresh. Refresh. Okay, so this is what we have.
Yeah, it didn't work either, Thomas.
Can we see your component file for the
I'm in
button?
outline 1.
How do we go about solving this, guys? This is the
I
problem
think
that
You
I would
something
try to just put a div instead of those little,
center of the fragment put a div. Sure, give it a
yeah,
shot. This is guys. This is your session, right? Like I don't need to learn how to, you know,
take out those little,
fragments.
yeah,
Put the button in the H1 inside of the div, I think is what Benicia is saying, and then get rid of the
yes,
fragments. Check if it does
yes.
anything. No, the button stuff was good. Just get rid of the fragments and put everything inside the div. So you can control Z and there you go. Delete line 14 and line 9. H1's got to be inside the div. You can go option down arrow on it if you want, or option there, or that too. Alrighty, save. Refresh. Still getting it. All right. Give me ideas, everyone.
My next guess would just change the function app to export. To export default function.
That shouldn't be it, right? Because this works.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so if I move the button out of the return, because this first one says it needs to be in the body, but then the button still doesn't appear. But
Well, but your error says it's on line 11, which is
Mhm.
where you have
Yeah,
that.
so if I move it into the body like it recommends, then it then renders what's in the return, but doesn't give me a button.
And Nick, did you run the code to install all the npm code to install the dependencies while you're inside your project folder?
I
Like at the very top of the curriculum where it's had
Yeah.
us.
The big long one.
Mhm.
This one right here.
Nicholas,
Yeah.
I'm going to have Logan repeat the question. Pay very close attention to the question that he asked. Logan,
Yeah, I don't
ask
think
the
I did it in
question.
my project folder.
Okay, how do we check, Nicholas?
There's the
Just look at your file tree. That's it.
Yeah, pack JSON.
Close map proj. Where are your node modules?
outside of it.
Yeah, they're not in there. That's why it's not reading it.
I should be able to just move it then, right?
Yes, sir. Move it in the right spot, though. You can, yeah, you can close all of them now and check, hey, do I have it? Is it right? What's wrong here?
Do you have another package lock JSON and package JSON in your project?
In my project, yeah.
Will it flip out if
This
it has
is-
zero?
This is what came with the when you clone it down.
Okay. Try now. No, you need to run it. NPM run dev.
Oh yeah, that's helpful.
So if I'm understanding what you said, it sounds like you'd cloned down the repo, but you'd already done the npm create. So now you have like two different source folders and package locks and all that.
No, when you clone it down, these ones come with it, and then I did the npm create, which creates the other one.
I see. I didn't get the package and package lock whenever I cloned mine down. Or did you fork it and then clone it, or I don't know if
Yeah.
that.
Alrighty. So what's the problem? We're not going to solve it here. But can anyone kind of talk to us about what the issue is? So those assets actually don't come with the clone. I just looked at the repo. So what probably happened here?
It was like a npm install inside of another npm.
That's what appears that would happen. See if we can get it up. Why is this npm run dev not running?
Is he not in the
Not
project
in the
folder?
same
No,
project.
he's in the project folder. He's inside of map proj,
Mhm.
right? Okay. And his npm run dev is not running. Look at that error. It says Vite not found. That means what?
He's not in the right, where's it?
You didn't create that project with the Vite command. So it's not there. Here,
So
let's do
when I-
an exercise. Let's do an exercise. Close map proj. All right, so you're inside material router 1, right? Delete source assets. You actually don't need it for anything. We can copy and paste that stuff later. You can delete it. We can literally copy and paste from the repo. You can delete those 3 files too. We can actually just delete the package JSON. You can keep the README. Yeah, close that. Delete that package JSON. Create another right here on this route on map proj. Create ones called test. Create a project called test right here. You can use the GUI.
In that same one?
Yeah, back you can cd dot back out one directory, and inside of material right here you can mkdir test.
Do you want to? Okay.
Now cd test. Wait, yeah, now cd test. All right, now what do you want to do here if you want to create a brand new project? npm byte latest, is that the command? I don't even
With
remember.
create, npm create.
Forgot the create word.
All right, try that. I shouldn't have called the folder test. That was a terrible day, but that's okay. We're going to work through it. Cool. Pull it up. Awesome. Go into inside a test. Right. And then go inside of source. Okay, stay right here. You can shut down the server. Go Control C on your terminal. Okay, in here, you're inside a test, go ahead and run that long command and install MUI. Yep, copy paste exactly what you have highlighted. Give it a second. Actually, while that's downloading, go into MapProj and copy, go into MapProj, go into source, go into app.jsx, copy all that. Copy all that. Okay. So now close MapProj. Go into test. Go into app.js and replace all of that with what you just brought in. And bring button down inside that div at the bottom of line 11. Yeah, that's fine. Save. Cool. This is taking a long time. Did we screw something up?
Took me a little while earlier too, but
Okay. Give it a second. Yeah, just give it a second. As you're giving it a second, any questions about what's happening right now?
Well, in my case, I see the project name, right? You do the npm create byte latest, then I have a project name, and then I have to give it a name as a package name, so I don't know what they mean. It's supposed to be only the project name, and then the next thing will be JavaScript, right? I mean React and then JavaScript, correct?
Yes.
I don't know why in my case it's asking me for a package name. So,
We can look at it in a second.
okay.
Alrighty. Run it. npm run. What's the issue here? Have you run into this before?
yep. I don't remember how I fixed it now though.
You don't remember?
No, I was running into a whole bunch of issues. I believe it was in.
Can you run just npm install inside
What?
and
Yeah,
Okay.
give me a second. All right. Do LSLA inside your terminal right here. This is getting really confusing.
Yep.
ls-la. What do you notice here?
npm's outside of the test folder?
No, you
no,
have
node
two
module,
test
sorry.
folders. CD
Node
into test. Yeah, CD into the test again. You have test here. All right, LSLA. Okay, cool. You're gonna have to run that command again. The one with all the dependencies. Yep. I do not know why you created another test folder here. And now you have two node modules. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Talking
this
about,
is,
talking about
yep.
these two files right here, right?
It was the same thing. So we created the test folder with make directory command, and then
Yeah.
we we did the npm create, but we
Yep.
didn't cd into the test that we created, and then we ran the thing again.
So that was us. But this is actually part of your problem too, Nicholas. You don't know where you're at, and that's what's happening. And I actually noticed that we screwed up right there, but that's fine. We're going to save it. We're going to save it here. This is going to download in the right place. And there you go. Now npm run dev. All right, open it. That's your button, right?
Nice.
Yep. Now I got a button.
Okay. So what was your problem, Nicholas?
I don't know who I am or where I am.
Exactly. That's it.
I'm just lost.
Yeah, and notice mine as I walk you through it. I screwed up too, right? Logan pointed out my mistake. Good catch, Logan. It tells me that you're learning and you're understanding this. Notice how I screwed up. I shouldn't have called it test. Test is probably a reserved word in a lot of places. I should have called it like matproj2 or something like that, right? Or like, big folder and then the project name. Notice how we did it twice. That's a screw up on my end, right? But I knew enough to say, oh, I screwed that up. That's fine. Go in there one more layer, and then download your dependencies and then run it. Make sense?
Yes, and I think that's what I didn't do was re-download all the dependencies when I caught it and went back into my folder.
Yep. When that happens, I would just delete everything. Especially if you're early on a project, just delete everything and restart it.
I started over 3 times.
Hey, don't admit that on camera, bro. That's an internal struggle. No worries.
I'm just saying I started over 3 times before I was finally like, I can't even get anything to come up on my screen.
No worries. No worries. Thank you, Nicholas. That was great. Good
Yep.
learning experience. You're not the only one. I bet there's a handful of people here that were there that didn't volunteer, but you had the same problem. Actually, you probably had a worse problem, right? You didn't know what was going on and why wasn't it working. So that's actually worse. You're further behind, honestly. Okay, cool. That's the best ship in the world, Logan. I love that clip. We send that to each other in the group chat a lot. Alrighty, cool. Who did the carousel? Was that you, Logan, or?
No, I didn't do a carousel. I did the like menu thing.
Oh, can you show us the menu?
Yeah, let me make sure it's still running.
Here's a challenge for someone after we break from this. Do the carousel. Carousels are kind of a pain in the ass, actually, but they're pretty popular.
I don't know if you can see my screen.
All right, yep, we can see it.
So obviously I've got some formatting to do. I need to fix my margin, but
Yep.
I don't know how to. I was trying to get the dark mode thing to work. I have no idea what the next step is, but this is basically as far as I've got. So I think let me make sure. Yeah, it's 2 components.
Can you click on inbox start and send email?
Yeah, I mean, they don't go anywhere right now.
Okay. Oh, very cool. Awesome. Can we see your code real quick?
Yeah. Share.
You just walk us through it real quick.
Yeah, so the hardest part was actually the imports. I had so many overlapping imports that's what I spent the most time debugging. You can see I started right in this chunk here to try to understand how to get light dark mode to do something, but it's not doing anything right now. And then just, wrapped my components. Demo was kind of where I was sandboxing. So this is where I started with the main drawer menu. This was previously the button thing actually that Nicholas was sharing, but I just hijacked it. And actually you can see the button right here. I forgot. Yeah, the button's still on the screen. So I've just been adding stuff into here and trying to see how it affects the page like live. So you can see I've imported almost everything there is, it seems like. But I spent probably like almost 15 minutes seriously just deleting imports that I had brought in multiple times. When I was trying to do the curriculum thing that you showed us with the sound what was that thing called? The sound thing.
The little sound bar.
Yeah, I finally got that to work, but then I had to figure out which imports I was doing from the curriculum up here and deleting them. But yeah, I've basically just been using this single component named demo as a sandbox to bring in things and see how they appear on the main screen. And most of this is just dropped in here from the tutorial documentation. But yeah, I still don't have dark mode working. I don't really know what the next steps are there.
Let's look at dark mode real quick. Go to app.jx. Okay, someone just, not even code-wise, just conceptually, how we're going to bring that function line 15 into his DOM. That function is going to have to be passed to what between line 20 and 29?
They got to get past the demo as a prop.
Yeah. And you could do that because functions are just objects. So that's going to have to be passed to one of the components, and now the component owns it, right?
Okay, all right. I'll play with that. I need to work more on props. I need to
There we
work more
go.
on props and use effect.
Yep. Perfect, right? So it's going to be something like, I don't even know if this is the right syntax, but just something along the lines of on click path handler, something like that, right? Something like that. And remember, can a button component be part of the nav component? Of course it can be.
There's login buttons on nav bars all the time.
Yep. And that's how that's done. Perfect. Sweet. Good example so far, actually, class. Good. Scott, how far did you get? Do you have anything even different than what we covered?
No, I pretty much got the same thing. I hit a different issue than the other two. I was getting an error about a missing import. And I copied and pasted directly from the documentation for that. So I had that big ass list of imports. And I was missing one of them. It ended up being the icons dash material. That was the one I was missing. It was throwing a fit. So once I figured that out, I was able to get it just to where Logan's at.
Got it. Sweet. So when you try to use a component you haven't imported, it's going to throw an error. Now, when you have imports that aren't used, typically there's no error that is thrown, right? But, and this is a little outside of the scope of today's class, but in real production code, right? Right now, you know how you just make changes and you push to GitHub? Yes, everyone knows that? All right, in real production code, that's never going to happen. What's going to happen is your pushes will be rejected unless they pass certain criteria. And a lot of the times you're asked to run pre-commit hooks. What are pre-commit hooks? They will typically format your code, lint your code, and alert you of any potential issues with your code. And one of those things, among many other things, is unused imports, right? So let's say you'll run your pre-commit hooks. Some of them will fix your files for you and reformat them, right? And then it'll allow you to push it. But once you push, right, it'll be typically a pipeline, right, that scans your code for vulnerabilities, runs a bunch of tests, whether they are, real integration tests of your code or just like default security scans or tests that your company has built that says, hey, all our code must have like certain headers, right? It must be linted a certain way, yada, yada, yada. Right. And then eventually, once it passes all of that, then it will allow you to merge it onto any other branch. Make sense? So it's not as simple as, hey, I'm going to create this code and push it up. If you work for a big company with really mature dev culture, there's going to be a lot of checks to your code before they even see a merge request or a pull request. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So don't worry about, pay very close attention to your code, but eventually when you get to kind of like the real job, some of that stuff is going to be automated for you. So you won't miss it. You can't miss it, right? Because you can't create a PR if the pipelines fail, if your pre-commits fail, right? It just won't let you. And that's what a mature dev environment looks like. Sweet. Anybody else have anything that we haven't looked at or any other problem?
What about Leon's problem with the package thing?
Oh yeah, Leon, forgot about you, dude. Show
Oh,
us.
don't worry, I got it. I just got it on my way. Apparently, I put the wrong name in the project. So if I do the wrong name, instantly tells me that I need to create a package somehow. So I had to put the right valid name as a project.
Oh, did you start with a number or something?
I put the first letter with cat. Cat. So
Oh,
yeah. So that was
almost as
it.
bad as your lowercase class name, Nicholas. You remember that one? He's like, I still have nightmares about it. No worries, happens all the
Now I'm gonna
time.
have nightmares about figuring out where I am.
You should. You should. Uh, why? And we run into this a lot, actually, especially on bash scripts, right? Sometimes you'll be working with someone and you can't like access their environment. So what's the crux? Creating a bash script. But when code is downloaded on their machine, right? A lot of the times the directories are different than what you have on your machine. So this idea of paths and where you are becomes a fucking nightmare. So that happens all the time, right? Not only are you like kind of messing with it on your machine, imagine trying to help someone or a remote team or someone, and you can't access their environment for whatever reason, right? You don't have the credentials or something, and then you're getting the errors through bash scripts, right? You're trying to debug them. It's a pain in the ass. So it happens all the time. Like it's just normal. Like I had an issue today where our dev environment, the paths on the S3 bucket was slightly different than our customer's environment. And it wasn't loading data properly. So eventually we needed to decide, hey, what's the right path? Sync both environments, make sure the code works, and then we're able to port over the code and then it worked. So stuff like that happens all the time.
Earlier, your favorite thing is to press tab because it's always correct,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
And everything was great. I was trying to figure out why my code wasn't working. And it was an import statement. It all looked great, but I realized the file didn't have the file extension. So it was like app bar with menu just without .jsx. Like, you gotta be kidding me.
Dev problems, man. All right, guys. It's 8:16. Let's come back at 8:37. Let's come back at 8:37 and I'll put you in groups. 8:37, and then we'll either continue with assignment one or if you already finished, assignment two. All right, back at 8:37. Right. What is happening? How did assignment one go?
I thought it would be easier, but it's going.
You're on the right path to being a dev. The number of times that I thought, this be 20 minutes. 3 hours later, still no. Anyone else? Feedback, any problems that you thought you were interesting, any issue that you have that you can enlighten the class with? Anybody finish assignment one by chance? It's okay if you didn't.
I think Tony and I were getting there.
Okay, good. No worries if you didn't. If you got close, that was pretty good. Let me go back a little bit to what Logan was saying. I thought it was going to be easier. So in the practice of software development or software engineering, you actually try to automate as much stuff as you can. Can anyone really just sit down and think, why do you try to automate as much stuff as you can about the development process? Why do we do this?
So you have more time to figure out the shit that doesn't work.
Yes, efficiency is a really big one. What's another one? There's one more that's really important. Efficiency is one, but there's two.
Less prone to making mistakes if you automate it.
That's it. Those are the two reasons. Efficiency, because you really need all your energy on big problems, right? And when you don't automate something, you're fixing imports and a phantom space at the end. Does everyone understand that? Right? That's why this whole idea of importing third-party libraries, having a really good CI/CD pipeline, this idea of pre-commit hooks and linting your code and automating everything as much as possible is critical to a good development practice. Because the less of that you have, the more mistakes you're going to make. Right? Then you have devs that are paid 100K, 200K, 300K, 500K, 600K, messing with a phantom space. Right? Yes? You remember that I'm going to actually end the recording right here.